I think it goes without saying we're well and truly past the point of no return. So there's two types of people in this world. Those that have a P80 series Volvo and those that don't. For those that don't, this could be pretty entertaining because I do not work on cars and I'm about to have a crack at it. And for those who do own a P80 Volvo, and that is the 850, the S70, V70 and the C70 up until 99 I think. If I get it right, this could be a pretty good instructional video. So I've got a quote to replace this top engine mount bushing which is cracked, and it was a couple $100 and I thought that was pretty steep. So I jumped online and I've looked at every possible review that's available, and anyway, I'm going to have a go at it myself. You can kind of see the crack in there, and that's what didn't pass rego. So I've read the forums, I've had a look at some pretty awesome instructional videos on YouTube, and this is going to be my first bit of work that I've done on a car. So step one is removing the current bushing, which is done by loosening those bolts. I sprayed it with WD-40 last night, so because it was a bit stuck. On that side you need a 13mm wrench, and on that side it's a 15mm. Step one is to remove the old bushing. Use a 15mm spanner on the nut side and a 13mm on the bolt side. I'm just using a pedal spanner from my bike workshop. Just lift this bracket up and rest it on there, and then this is the unit that we need to get out, and you can see there it's pretty well stuffed. So most of the forums and the videos online say that you can use a hacksaw to get it out, and I think I'm going to have a go at that. I've just used the hacksaw to cut all the way through, and this bushing's made of, it's got like a rubber insert and then a harder plastic rim, and you just got to get through all the plastic rim there, and you can, as soon as you get through, you can sort of see it, it's already, the whole thing's starting to get looser. I can't even move it now with my fingers. So the next thing, I think you can use a screwdriver to kind of jam it out, and otherwise you might even just be able to wiggle it out with your fingers. Anyway, let's have a crack. I'll video this just to show how difficult it is to get out. Alright, well there's the middle bit out. I might get a screwdriver. Alright, just going to pry that out. Oh, it's actually like that. And that's it. That's the old one out. I think it goes without saying we're well and truly past the point of no return here. So if you have no experience working on cars like me, make sure you do this on a Friday evening, so you have all weekend to get your car working again before you need it to drive to work on Monday morning. The old one's out and spent, so it is not going back in. Now, from what I've read, the tricky thing about this is getting the new one in. So initially my quote for this job was somewhere around $300, and that's why I thought it was worth having a crack at it myself, because online it was delivered for under $40. So if I can pull it off, then I think it's worthwhile. So there's an arrow pointing up here, and from what I can read online, that just needs to be pointing up with the brace. And would you look at that, it's way too small. Bloody hell. A few weeks later, I now have the correct part. I've put it in the freezer to stiffen it up, because apparently that makes it a lot easier to sort of get it in there. When it's not in the freezer, this part here is quite squishy. The other thing I've done is just sprayed the outside with WD-40. I've just sprayed it on a cloth like that and wiped it around the edge just to make it a little bit more slippery. Now the little notch there needs to face to the rear of the car, and it's a bit confusing because there are actually little arrows on here, but the arrows are, I guess, always pointing up. So like on one side it's pointing up, on the other side it's pointing down, so I don't really understand that. But anyway, arrow to the left, I'm going to come in from the driver's side, so I've got the most space. Some people will say you can just slide it in, others make special presses to kind of gently wind it in. I'm going to use, I'm going to tap it in, and to do that I've got these two extremely high-tech pieces of equipment. This one is actually pretty important because it will fit over the mount like this, over the bushing, and so when you're tapping on the wood you're actually pressing on the rim rather than pressing on the middle of it, because if you just try and push it in by pushing on the middle there, you'll damage the bushing and you won't get it in anywhere. So anyway, let's give it a go. Apparently the 10 minutes of gentle tapping, just trying to keep it even, is all it takes. Once you're happy it's sitting centre in the mount there, if you're happy how far you've tapped the bushing in, it's now just a matter of undoing what you did at the first place, putting the arm back over it and putting the bolts back on. I always like to put a little bit of Loctite on it. Yeah, so that was, once I had the right part, it was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. This jig that I made certainly made a big difference, although the only downfall with it is that you couldn't use it to get it all the way in. So there was a little bit of creative tapping there at the end to get it completely centered. Great, good luck with yours.